Good afternoon, everybody. This is Meteorologist Eric Drewitz from the New York State Weather Center. Current conditions over the Northeast, New York State really, upper 40s to approaching about 50 degrees down on Long Island. Looks like radar overlaying showing some showers, some rain showers down there. Let me take that off. Okay, so when you look more upstate, though, looks like more so lower 40s, upper 30s. Um, Generally, on average, for over the Northeast, it looks like the winds are coming out of the east. Um, let's get this forecast analysis started. So first of all, actually, before I start talking about the forecast, my own forecast, and outlooks, first of all, there's been some alerts posted by the National Weather Service. This is the Long Island area right here. These alerts were issued at let's see here, at 4:06 in the morning for the Hudson Valley. So pretty much you see, Long Island in New York City has no alerts, but you'll see to the north and west over the Hudson Valley, New Jersey, Connecticut, like Westchester and points north. There's a flood watch, and they are saying flood watch for rainfall up to from two potential isolated amounts of 2 to 3 inches of rain. And I'll talk about that more so later. Um, Here, I'll highlight it for you so you guys can see it better. So, high confidence for widespread rainfall up to 2 inches with the potential for isolated amounts up to 3 inches. So, when we go a little bit more north to look more up here, looks like flood watches extend up to around Utica area, up through Montgomery County, to Cortland County, Broome County, um, Madison County, and then it looks like there's not really any weather alerts for like Syracuse, Ithaca, Elmira, and looks like a little bit west of Geneva, like um, there's a winter storm watch issued by the National Weather Service, and let's just quickly take a look. It was issued at 10:42 a.m. It's in effect from 5 p.m. this afternoon through Sunday morning. Um, and they're saying that potential, obviously, winter storm watch because accumulations of snow are going to be potentially 6 inches or more. And actually, I want to see when the flood watch. I forgot to see when the flood watch is issued this evening to through late Sunday night. So you guys, folks, are in for a lot of rain. Looking up a little bit more north into the Adirondacks, Messina, Saranac Lake, Plattsburgh. Winter weather advisories were issued, and were issued at 4:40 in the morning and in effect from 8 p.m. this evening to 2 p.m. Sunday Eastern Daylight Time. Um, uh, Snow and sleet, 3 to 5 inches. They say a trace of ice. Maximum snowfall rates, an inch an hour. They say. So let's get the forecast started. Since you got all your alerts and stuff. So we'll look at the U.S., the continental U.S. at the 1,000 to 500 millibar thickness first, just to get an idea of just some general trough ridge patterns going on right now. This is currently the 12Z NAM showing the 1,000 to 500 millibar thickness, mean sea level pressure, and 6-hour QPF, which is quantitative precipitation forecast. So precipitation. So this was at 12Z today. You see, hold on. You see trough more so in the trough. There's a trough more so in the Midwest when you see the 540 line, or when the 1,000 to 500 millibar thickness is about 540 decameters. That's usually approximated to be the rain snow line for those of you non-meteorologists out there. Um, so pretty much looking forward, it looks like this is at 6Z tonight, 2 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time tonight, and you see there's these very heavy precipitation around Long Island and the lower Hudson Valley. Um, you guys are according to the NAM, you guys are looking at an inch to inch and a quarter of rain. Um, and then looking later, hold on. Oh, there you go. Um, it doesn't really look like it's gonna get that cold. Because it looks like, according to the NAM, there's this good ridge building in from the west quickly after this, as you see. Although, I know they for Oswego, it's been I read a few forecast discussions. It's going to be starting off as like a wintry precipitation, wintry mix, and then changing over to snow tonight. But so this is the 12Z GFS, and as you see, this is 6Z or 2 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time tonight, and the GFS has the bulk of the precip over the Binghamton area actually. Um, hold on, let me just disable those. Hold on, no, disable those. And so yeah, so it looks like most of the precipitation is going to be over the Binghamton area. Um, guys over there, according to the GFS, are looking at over an inch. Generally, though, between the NAM and the GFS, it seems like they came to a little bit of a consensus that the bulk of the precip will be over southern New York, but not Long Island or the city, but the southern Hudson Valley and the Hudson Valley area is going to receive the bulk of the precipitation, which is why the National Weather Service issued those flood watches for potential flooding. So this is the 0Z ECMWF or European model run, and this is at you're looking at 6Z or again 2 a.m. tonight, and it shows most of the precip over the southern tier of the state. Um, looks like again mostly in the form of rain, um, and then it looks like there's a bit of a trough building in behind it, as you see over here. Anyway, now looking at the Canadian, this is the 0Z run of the Canadian. Uh, and the Canadian actually has the bulk of the precip over the island and the western Connecticut going up to Albany. But general consensus, I'd say Hudson Valley area with a little bit of comparison and intuition. I'd bet the Hudson Valley area is going to be receiving the most rainfall in the state. Okay, so this is the 2 meter temperatures across the continental United States, just to get another idea of the trough ridge patterns, or obviously for those of you watching this broadcast who are not meteorologists or meteorology majors, obviously where there's a trough, that's where the cold temperatures are, and where there's a ridge, that's where the warm temperatures are. So this is at 12Z run of the NAM. This was at 12Z this morning. Temperatures looking like they're being like the mid 30s. Um, and then as we approach 6Z tonight, it looks like the freezing line is going to be pretty much right around Syracuse, and then Western New York will be below freezing. Um, but then looks like the majority of the state, like Hudson Valley, Albany, the island, the city, majority of the state is going to be above freezing, which is why you guys are under the flood watches with all that precipitation headed your way. So, as by this is 12Z, excuse me, this is 12Z Sunday morning, and you see uh, the cold air is building more into the region. Temperatures now more so in the mid to upper 20s for upstate New York, but down in the city and the island, it's still in the 40s. Hudson Valley is still above freezing for the most part, except maybe in the higher elevations, of course. Um, higher elevations of the Catskills, by the way. So looking at the what was that? Looking at the 12Z GFS run, this is 6Z tonight, and yeah, you see pretty much the 32-degree lines right over Oswego. Now, I wouldn't say it's right over Oswego though, because right now I'm looking at what's called operational models. So the resolution on these models aren't as fine as I'll show you later. The 4 kilometer high res NAM on the E-wall, but you get an idea that the consensus is there's going to be rain or icy mix at the onset in Oswego, and then changing over to snow as the cold air builds in and cold air advection takes its place over the region. So this is the 0Z European, and this is 6Z tonight, and it looks like most of the states can be above freezing. Euro looks like it's trending a little warmer, and then the Canadian 69. Canadian is also trending warmer. So these are the let's take a quick look at the 12Z GFS 12Z NAM 10-meter wind streamlines. Um, so as you see, currently, this is 12Z today. Currently, northeasterly wind, but then stays that way. And then when we get to 6Z Sunday, you see over the island and the city, you got that warm air advection. You got that southerly flow, nice southerly flow at the surface, off the Atlantic Ocean. But then it looks like here's that around here is where the winds are changed up a bit, and you see upstate in Oswego, Syracuse, Buffalo, you have more of a northerly flow, cold air advection, which is why we're going to be seeing snow or a wintry mix. Okay, so actually, let me show you an awesome website us meteorologists at SUNY Oswego found. Credit on this goes to Jordan Rabinowitz because he was the one who found this website. So credit to you, Jordan. I'll give credit where credit is due. And right now, this is the 15Z service analysis GFS. The GFS model is a source, and this is the surface winds and temperatures. This is a very good website for wind and temperature analysis, but it's only current though. It doesn't forecast. This website's not for forecast, but it looks like again we have like a northeasterly flow right now. Kind of looks like neutral advection because of the fact is it doesn't look like the wind is going against the temperature gradient that much. But off to the south, as you see, this convergence, this lower level convergence right here. Well, that also goes to show if there's lower level convergence, well then there has to be upper level divergence, which is cyclogenesis, and pretty much that's why you probably saw rain around the shore, the coast of Long Island and New York City and Jersey Shore. But if you look here to the south, you got that really warm southerly flow, warm air advection. And to get a better idea of the advection taking place outside, by the way, I could pinpoint location. So this is like about Oswego right here. So it's um, unfortunately all the units they give are metric, so bear with me on that. But let's look at the 850 millibar heights and temperature. And as you see at 850 millibars, since we're on the east side of this low, because as you see, obviously around a low, the winds blow counterclockwise and inward in the northern hemisphere. And since we're on the east side of the low, you have that warm air advection taking place at 850 millibars, or about a mile above sea level. And you got that southerly flow coming off of the ocean and bringing all this warm air in. So that's why it's fairly mild right now compared. I mean, I wouldn't classify 38 degrees or so mild, but I mean compared to Oswego this winter, uh, 38 degrees is like t-shirt and shorts weather. Anyway, you could see. Let's check. See what the current central pressure is of this storm. So it looks like it's not too strong. It's about 1,009 hectopascals, or that's the same thing as about 1,009 millibars. And you see, you got all these big high pressures over here, 1,031 millibars up in Canada, and then you get this really big one out here in the ocean, which looks like 1,035. Wow, 1,035 hectopascals, or 1,035 millibars. So now let's take a look back at those streamlines. So as you see, when the storm pulls out, we're gonna get a southerly flow, possibly the next day, and I'll look at the 12Z GFS 10-meter wind streamlines, and pretty much you'll see the winds coming out of the northeast like they are right now, and then changing to a northerly flow. And actually, GFS seems like it's going to stay with the northerly flow for a bit. And looking at the euro, 0Z euro, um, yeah, euro kind of seems like it's in agreement more so with the GFS, because I see that northerly flow occurring. And the euro is generally a good model. Oh yeah, the Canadian doesn't do streamlines. So this is just 1,000 to 500 millibar thickness again. So let's look at this is the 850 millibar height, temperature, and wind forecast. This is the 12Z GFS, and as you see, going to 6Z tonight, you have that low pressure center surrounded down here, but over Virginia, but you see the cold air advection taking place on the western, or the back end of the storm, which includes Oswego, Buffalo, Rochester, because you got that more northeasterly flow changing to northerly. So it looks like the chances are good to see wintry precipitation tonight over rain for upstate New York. And for the island, I'm sorry, but if you guys are hoping for snow, that's not happening, because you guys are undergoing warm air advection. And then this is the 12Z GFS, and yeah, it looks like it's a similar thing. Once the storm pulls away a bit, you're going to get that northerly flow on the back end, and that's going to cause for snow. And this is the Canadian. Well, actually, let's go to the ECMWF, because that one. So this is at 6Z tonight, and again, northerly winds, northeasterly winds. So you're getting on the back end of that storm. So when you get that cold air advection, again, it'll be a good chance for snow compared to warm air advection downstate is going to be getting. So again, the Canadians in agreement. I'm not going to really spend much more time on this. Okay, so that was for accurate press. So let's take a look at the what the high resolution has to offer us, because high resolution. Honestly, I prefer better the mesoscale models for short range forecasting, because mesoscale models give you a higher resolution or a smaller grid spacing, so they're more precise. And also, the only thing about mesoscale models that I don't like is if you're trying to do long range forecasting, you have to go with operational models, because mesoscale models are only short term. So This is the 12Z run of the 4 kilometer high resolution NAM mesoscale model, and as you see, this is at 18Z or 2 p.m. today. It's forecasted for, and it looks like it did a pretty good job because it's pretty much the same thing right now. But rain, showers, moderate to heavy over the island, the city, the Westchester, basically the tri-state region. Um, and it looks like intensity wise, you're looking at looks like light to moderate. Over to Suffolk County, it looks like, and over Long Island, for the most part, it looks like you could be receiving 20 to 25 to 30 dBZs, which is pretty decent. However, when we forward in time, though, this is now 21Z tonight, and pretty much you see rain is more widespread. It stretches now up to precipitation stretches now up to around the Albany region, around the Capital District. Really heavy precip in the lower Hudson Valley, including Dutchess, Putnam, Westchester, Rockland, and Orange County. It looks like this is probably gonna be the zone where you get the 2 to 3 inches that the National Weather Service has been talking about, or the really heavy duty precip, really heavy precip, and then it gets even more intense when we get to later tonight to earlier tomorrow. 3Z tonight. 3Z tonight. You see the bulk of the precip starting to come offshore from the island and the city to going to points northward. You have a very good area that has base reflectivity values or radar reflectivity values of over 35 dBz, so 35 to 40 dBz, and for a good portion of the region actually, and even some isolated, when you look at even closely, even some isolated spots of potentially 40 to 45 dBz around Newark and just off the coast of Long Island. So that's actually very impressive. That's very heavy precipitation, very heavy rainfall. So I would think that's a good call on the part for the National Weather Service on issuing a. That's a good call for the National Weather Service to issue a flood watch for the downstate, most of the downstate region. Although I honestly think the National Weather Service should issue a flood watch for the island and the city as well, if this is what is possible for tonight. So as we look, this is the five. This is at 5Z, and New York State's pretty much all undergoing precipitation. Again, the bulk looks like it's going to be around the island and Hudson Valley. With radar reflectivities, actually, again, a good chunk, a lot of scattered 35 to 40 dBz, and then 30 to 35 dBz. So generally, relatively moderate to heavy precipitation. So as we look, the storm clears out, and it looks like the Hudson Valley is going to still receive um, precipitation after the brunt moves out due to wraparound, which still looks like pretty decent. So, because it looks like these wraparound bands, might have radar reflectivity values of, let's say 30 to 35 dBz. It looks like even still some isolated spots of 35 to 40 dBz, as you see in the yellow right there. And then storm pulls out, and then by 0Z on Tuesday or 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Monday evening, uh, storm's out of here. Now let's take a look at the 2 meter temps in those times, just to get an idea of the kind of precipitation that could be happening. Uh, so we'll fast forward in time. So this is 21Z tonight, and it still looks warm, above freezing. Long Island in the city looks like you're going to be mostly in the 40s, in the mid 40s. Around Oswego, looking at probably, I would say, upper 30s to low 40s at 21Z. Adirondacks, you're in the 30s. But generally, it seems like it's a big chunk of warm air over the state and I mean warm air by like 40 degrees or higher. Um, so now let's look at the for 5Z, well 3Z actually, because temperatures are much colder in upstate now at 3Z. Mid to lower 30s. So this is probably when around 3Z. Well, I'd say between um, probably 0Z and like 3 to 4Z is when that changeover is going to be occurring to snow for the upstate region. And let's go back to 3Z. And it looks like mid to lower 30s over the region. I'd say this is kind of probably more so of a heavy wet snow than a light fluffy snow, just because the temperatures aren't going to be don't look like they're going to be that far below freezing. And then as we uh, fast forward more, by 12Z tomorrow morning, looks like upper 20s, low 30s. But it looks like Western New York gets the coldest with the mid 20s. So they might get some. They might receive a little bit of the fluffy kind of snow. And then it looks like cold air builds into the region for 9Z on Monday, and then starts warming up um, at the very end on 0Z Tuesday. I know a bunch of you guys are probably hoping for these upper 50s and lower 60s to the southwest over Illinois, Kentucky, Indiana, Missouri to start moving into our region. I actually wouldn't complain, but I'm actually going to be doing a pollen forecast because um, I'm an allergy sufferer big time, and I feel that this season is going to be very bad. And the only reason I say that is because we've had a lot of precipitation this winter, all the snow and everything. The ground is saturated completely. So all the plants, all the trees are going to be getting all this water. And since they're going to be taking in a lot of water this year compared to previous years, this year is going to be worse because then they're going to produce more pollen because they've been well watered. So it's not going to be a fun season for allergy sufferers. So after this, let's look at the QPF, the total QPF. So this is 15Z today, and this is the 12Z run. So let's actually go to 18Z because 18Z is 2 o'clock and it's 1:13. Actually, let's go to 17Z. So it looks like right now, forecasted by the 4 kilometer high res NAM. The only places in the state that really got maybe a little bit of precipitation is the city and the island, Westchester, and it looks like they only got between a tenth and a hundredth of an inch. But as we go later, you see this is 6Z tonight. There is a very good chunk, and this is why honestly I think the National Weather Service needs to issue an advisory or a watch for the island and the city. Actually, let's quickly check if they did because look at this. It's 6Z tonight or 2 a.m. tonight. You're looking at in Jersey and in the Hudson Valley and on the island in the city. Total QPF approaching like 1 3/4 inches, 1.75 inches in some spots, to even like between 2 and 3 inches in some spots. Locally, probably you could get at least 3 inches. I'd say locally, or is possible. Which is why. So let's actually check if they did do update their map and issue a watch or a warning or an advisory. Oh, they still haven't. I think they're definitely. I would say. I would assume that they will. So people on the my viewers who are on the island or in the city, I have a feeling the National Weather Service is going to issue a flood watch or a flood warning or flood advisory due to this storm. Um, so at the this is now 18Z Sunday, so 18Z, so 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon after the storm pulls away. Um, the region looking like it received from the storm 2 to 3 inches. Looks like over Suffolk County, Long Island, and some places in the Hudson Valley. You might see locally 3 to 4 inches of rain, so upwards of 3 inches. But again, this region for the most part is under a flood watch. Oh, hold on, let me change the color on that so you guys can see better. So yeah, it looks like locally 2 to 3 inches are possible for this portion of the Northeast. Looks like Orange County is between 2 and 3 as well. And now let's take a look at some forecast soundings. Actually, before I look at the forecast soundings, this is the SPC Storm Scale Ensemble of Opportunity, or known as the SPC's SSEO, and this is the latest run, the 0Z run on March 29th, so 0Z last night. And as you see, as I go through, you see the storm pulls into our region. Heavy rain around the Hudson Valley, Long Island down here. It looks like, getting into a bit of a wintry mix in western New York and the Adirondacks. And snow in Buffalo and Niagara County, Erie and Niagara County, Orleans County, and the west part of western New York. And as we fast forward, as you see these. Sorry, you see as we look in the fast forward to time, the rain is going to be changing to wintry mix and then changing to snow. So rain to ice, snow for upstate New York, including Oswego and Oswego County. Um, and that's that agrees with pretty much all the other model runs I've seen. So this is let's look at some forecast soundings via twisterdata.com for Oswego, New York, and pretty much excuse me. This is the GFS sounding. This is the 12Z run of the GFS. So let's look ahead to tonight. So this is 6Z tonight, and it looks like we'd have a good profile for it looks like we'd have a good profile for snow. You got that surface temperature. Actually, we might see some icing at this time because I shouldn't have said snow. When I looked at it closer now, there's a temperature inversion around the surface. We're around freezing or 0 Celsius, 32 Fahrenheit. But as you go up a little bit, halfway between 1,000 and 850 millibars, looks like there's a little bit of a temperature inversion by a degree or two. So maybe we might get some sleet or freezing rain due to it. But moisture wise, is looking excellent. It's looking moist up to about 250 millibars. Winds looking like they're veering. So at this time, it looks like we're still on the east side of the storm with that warm air advection. But let's fast forward a couple hours. And now it's looking a lot drier. This is 12Z tomorrow morning. Temperature is looking fairly constant throughout the region. Let's look back a little bit. It's probably 9Z. Yeah, this is 9Z. Yeah, and only at 9Z it only looks moist up to 500 millibars. So now let's take a look at the NAM for this. And this is the 12Z NAM. And so we're gonna be. Let's look at what it's for 6Z. Let's look at the profile for 6Z tonight, or 2 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time tonight. Um, the NAM doesn't show it as moist as the GFS did, but it looks like there's decent moisture up to 250 millibars again for 6Z tonight. And this is let's look at it for 3Z, and 3Z is looking excellent too. 3Z, um, actually 3Z is looking like about roughly 225 millibars. There's going to be significant moisture in the atmosphere up to about 225 millibars, which looks very good for precipitation. Um, so I guess this concludes my this broadcast. Again, I'm meteorologist Eric Drewitz with the New York State Weather Center. Please drop a like to this page for your forecast, updates, and photos. Again, I'm meteorologist Eric Drewitz with the New York State Weather Center, and I hope all of you have an awesome day, awesome night. People doing Relay for Life tonight. Again, my Relay for Life forecast, it's going to be snowing, well, icy mix to snow, rain to ice to snow. Temperatures in the upper 20s to lower 30s across the region. So stay safe, stay warm out there. Luckily, Relay's inside in the hockey rink, and have an awesome day.